So, hey guys, welcome to kind of like a little bit of a I screwed up moment. So we're continuing on with the building a Rumbleslam based wrestling ring, and somebody actually pointed out to us, although I did all the measurements right, when I then did all the line work and stuff, I only actually measured an 8 by 8 square. So, if you've watched part 1 and you've watched part 2, everything's the same, except when you do the measurements around the outside, it should be a 1-inch square. I've got some examples. So anyway, as I was saying, so what I've done is the 2 boards we were making, I'm still going to use them. I'm still going to patch them up. And the reason being, we originally talked about this and we thought, what could we do? Should we take them down? Because it's easy to do. Go on YouTube, delete the video, put them to private, whatever. Pretend they never happened. Or, put out an apology like we have done. Or, what is there to do? Scrap the project, start again, refilm them. And we thought, no, because hobby-wise, I mean, I have personally anyway, and I'm guessing a couple of you watching at least, have picked up a model or started to make a bit of scenery, and you've messed it up completely. And that model's either gone, in a cupboard of shame. It's been stripped so that you can repaint it. You've just, put it in a box somewhere and you thought, I'll deal with it later. Or if it's terrain, you've scrapped it or you've made it into something else. So what I've done is I've kind of improvised around what we'd previously done. And I'm going to give you a little kind of look into where we're at, which will lead us into part 3 as normal. I've only just found out. As I said, somebody commented on it, and then I went back and I looked, and I thought, oh my goodness, what have I done? How foolish. And I thought, well, I can, bodge up something straight away. I can try and fix it, as it were, but I don't have a lot of the materials here. And I thought, well, if the boards are wasted anyway, does it matter? We can try playing around with what I've got. So I'm going to now get the boards ready and show you exactly where we're at with it. As I said, I've only just realised, so I've only just started fixing them, but I'm going to run you through where we're at, and then, as I said, we'll probably, at a later point, I'll do the boards that we were intending to do. I mean, I'm still going to finish these, we're still going to finish the series. I'm going to change the titles of the videos, just to have in brackets, about the inaccuracies, and write them in the description. So if you are stumbling across those videos for the first time, at least you'll know, and you can, judge us harshly, as it were. But anyway, I'm going to show you where we're at with the board so far, and then tell you where we're going next and what the next parts are going to entail. So guys, here you have our dining table, and it's fairly late on at night in the UK, so if you're watching in America, it's probably not so late. But this is the forest one. So as you can see, we were putting these across. All I've done is I've extended them one at either side, so it's still 10 by 10. Obviously, I need to wait for the rest to arrive so I can finish it all off. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave them all these circles for now. I was going to trim some and things like that. But because I don't know how this board's going to come out, I'm not going to spend as much time on it as I was going to. I'm still going to try and finish it to the best of my abilities. And I'm still going to have a workaround for these corner bits, because I still want them to have the tree stumps, like the bigger tree trunks, for the turnbuckles. So that's something we're going to work on. But yes, you can see here, I've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 squares. And once I've filled all them in, it will be 10 by 8. And then obviously I'll have to do one there and one there, which will leave me like an inch triangle, or like an inch L shape, sorry, not a triangle, here, and here. So I might actually just have the tree trunks exactly as they were, but hanging off. And then I'll probably base the bottom of those separately with MDF. But that's something we'll come to when we're doing it. So the next one, which is currently drying at present, I'm going to just pop the camera down while I sort this all out. As I said, it's really in the early stages of drying. But because I wasn't too sure whether the board was going to make it, as it were, and I didn't want to waste materials, I decided to get some old polystyrene that I had in the shed, And first thing I did was I made a 10 by 10, sort of an inch thick flat board. Now I didn't, as you can see, it's not even, and that was something I did on purpose. And by doing that, all I did was, normally if I'm cutting through polystyrene, which I'd rarely use because I prefer insulated foam, if I'm cutting polystyrene, what I'll do is I'll heat the blade that I'm using and make like a homemade hot wire cutter, so it cuts perfectly straight and it kind of seals it off. But that wasn't the effect that I wanted to go for. So you can see where, like, or hopefully you can see where it's dinting in places, and it's not quite even. I've tested it and models still balance on it. So what I did was I took it, I cut it to its right size, and then I scored, so you can see they're not drawn on, they're actually scored in. I can get my nail in there. It's still wet because it's been sealed with 2 layers of watered down PVA glue. And when I did the second layer of PVA glue, I sprinkled some sand on, just little bits, again to give a varying texture. Then I cut these pillars out. As you can see, I'm just going to get a wrestler and we can have a look at whether a wrestler holds. So, once again, our friend with a tail is here. And as things stand, they do balance, but it's not as comfortably. So what I'm probably going to do, these still need texturing, and I'm going to texture them again like I did with the base itself as a multi-purpose filler or a poly filler. And I'm going to cover these, and I'm going to cover like across these edges, so it blends all into it. And I'll probably use some bits on here, and I'm really going to sort of pack all this out. So that it does. But if you have a look, see, so I've cut them in so they form the L shape. So instead of being just blocks that they've shifted there, it looks like they've physically constructed them. I went around the block itself with a lighter, and you can do it with any kind of warm blade or anything like that, just to give me some imperfections to start with. So you can see like where it's here, and it's dinting in there, and some more across here. As I said, I didn't want to completely ruin it, and I didn't want it to, melt huge chunks away, but I did want it to give it some basic imperfections. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to take like a small craft knife. I'm going to warm up the blade on that, and I'm going to try and sort of chisel it out a bit more so it looks like worn down rock. Then I'm going to texture it, and at that point I'm going to spray the whole board black again. And then we should be able to paint it. But with these, what I'm thinking of doing is making platforms. So again, it'll be out the polystyrene, because polystyrene is not ideal to work with. It's very good for certain things, but as I said, insulation foam board works a lot better. But as I said, because I just wanted to mess around and see if I could salvage the board, really. Polystyrene is perfectly fine. I have a load of it lying around that I use for varying things. And so once it's textured and it's been, because it's had one seal, so it's a bit tacky still. So it's been covered in PVA once to seal it. And I'll give it a second coat of PVA, and then I'll probably sprinkle some sand in, again like I've done on here. And then, as I said, I'm going to do some filler and stuff on it. And then I'm going to spray it all black again, and hopefully I'll have sealed it enough so that the polystyrene won't melt, because that's one of the problems with polystyrene. It melts when the spray paint hits it. And as I said, I'm just using the same as I did for that, which is just a black undercoat. And because it's not for models, I've just bought a cheap one from sort of your local hardware store. And again, that's a bit tacky still. But the plan, you can see there, it's not, well, as I said, if I really put some effort in, it'll crumble off and peel off. But for the most part, it's sealed quite well, and the black spray should seal it off finally. And then I should be able to just paint it and dry brush it without any of it flaking off. And if that's the case and I can get that sorted, then I'll have salvaged this board really well. But yeah, as I was saying, for these bits, I'm just going to make some like little discs that sit on there, kind of like Pride Rock. And that was something I measured, which is why they're the height they are. I got, well, the tallest models I've got, which I think is the Golem and the Werewolf, stand in the sort of biggest pose of the ones we have. And I've tried them, and even with something on the top here, so something acting like a disc here, you can still put a Golem under there. I mean, not because I want to have somebody on top and somebody down below, but obviously when you're setting up, somebody starts in the corner. Predominantly, I've seen a lot of people, and we do it too, we put the bigger model there. So that's all it is. So somehow, from it, we've managed to salvage it. And just so you don't need to despair, guys, you can see we've got 2 other boards here. So one was going to be the snowboard, and another is going to be a proper version of what we'd originally started with this. Just in case this doesn't come out right. Now with this, it was never intending to have ropes on. I may change that now, depending on how I feel about it. The forest was always going to have ropes on, and I was going to make those. I was just going to use normal, like thick string. Almost looks like a wool, and I was going to thread those through, and then I was going to get some lighter thread, and I was going to kind of wrap it around in places so it looked like vines. And then when it all gets sprayed, then we'll paint them green. So we're still, everything seems to be on track for the 2 boards still, but we've used a much more sort of, well, not experimental, I've used polystyrene many times for many things. I used to make ruins and craters and stuff out of it all the time, but it's not a medium I prefer to use these days, with insulation foam being so readily available. But yeah, so as I said, we did mess up on, I specifically messed up on part 1 and 2. Could have taken it down, but it felt like that wasn't the best course of action. The best course of action seemed to be, get this, see if we can salvage it. So I'm going to pop these back on now, because this board still needs to dry, and I just want some weight on those pillows. And yes, that is the Walking Dead All Out War Kickstarter set. It's got a good weight to it. Not because it's got the Walking Dead stuff in, but we put scenery and things in it. So it's got all our like cars and things like that. And then this board's definitely going to sort of keep going the way it is. I got shipping notification from TTCombats that those little what's-its were coming in the post. So I'm going to stick them all down, build the little tree stumpy bits. And I'll build a couple of them to check that they work, and then I'll do the rest as part of video part 3. So yes, that's the other thing I was going to allude to, because video part 3 was going to cover making these. So I'm going to make up some blocks to show you how I did it, if it's successful. If it doesn't work, then there's no point showing you it. But yeah, guys, so this was kind of a video just to say, look, when you're making models or painting or making scenery, you can mess up, but there are ways around it, and hopefully, guys, you won't get too disheartened and you'll keep following on to see where the rest of this goes. If this was a film, this would be a much better twist, wouldn't it? Like, watching part 1, oh yeah, he did that okay. Watch part 2, oh, he did that fine. Watch part 3, oh yeah, that's good. You know, dull film. Can't eat popcorn to that. This did okay, realised completely messed up. Here's how he's trying to fix it. We've got ourselves a 3rd act here, people. But no, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you even more for the people, or person, it was only one person who pointed it out to myself, that, you know, that the board had measured it wrong. And it was absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to give a shout out for that. And yeah, that's a YouTuber, I believe it's called Gary Shaw. Let me just double check that. He pointed that out to ourselves, so thanks a lot for that, dude. Hopefully it hasn't put you off the channel. Hopefully you're still watching. We've still got a Rumbleslam Friday Night Fight Night coming out this Friday, and it is a title match. It's the Runic Thunders getting a title match fairly quickly on against the new champions who only won it last week, which is the Furry Fury. So hopefully, guys, you'll check that out. And you'll come back Monday and Tuesday to see what we've got going on with the boards and see how they're coming across. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I guess you guys would prefer to see, you know, nice boards than going, oh, I messed up. Those videos are just going to disappear now. Yeah, but anyway, as always, pray the dice gods. Hope they smile upon you and take care. Thanks for watching, guys.